looking back, it was one of those things where it's like, I think God really wanted us to be totally dependent on him. We just had this feeling that God was calling us to untether ourselves, because I felt like he was just letting us know that he had something for us.
We lived in a 2-story house, 5 bedrooms, a loft, an office. It was great. We'd almost had it paid off. You know, our goal was to live like no one else so that one day we could live and give like no one else. We were sitting there one day on the couch and I was like, I don't want to clean. I'm done. I'm tired. This house is overwhelming. It's filled with stuff we don't use. It's filled with stuff we don't need.
God had a plan, and he knew what was going to come, and he was preparing us for it.
I think in less than a month, we were out of the house and living in an RV.
And just parked it on a campground in South Georgia. And basically we're like, okay, God, I mean, we did what you called us to do, what you asked us to do, so what now? God led us to a church in Jacksonville, Florida called 1122. In that time, the Central Campus sent us a guy by the name of F.F.A. The way that he came and pastored us, and just the encouragement to grow in so many different areas. He comes in one Sunday and he just basically says, hey, I've got some guys that are looking for a worship leader. I didn't answer when he came in and said something. I just kind of made a joke about, oh man, Montana, I'd love to live there. Like, that'd be awesome. I prayed about it for a long time, and then the only person I talked to about it was Kelly, and we talked, and I said, look, I don't know if you're ready or if I'm ready. I said, but I do want you to know that I feel, the call of God. Her response was very encouraging to be obedient to God.
Caleb gets this text from Eddie. We hadn't heard from him in a little bit.
He just said, hey, do you mind if I give these guys your info? And I said, yeah. I mean, I looked at Kelly. I said, like, what do you think? And
pass on your information. Sure.
And so we were driving through Knoxville at that point. Well, by the time we were in Chattanooga, which is like an hour and a half, something like that, I'm in like this conversation with Luke and with Eddie. And Eddie is just like, for lack of better terms, he's just selling me the Luke. And I looked at Kelly and I said, this spun out faster than I thought it was going to. Like, this got out of control really fast. So anyways, by the end of that conversation, Luke's like, hey, let's do a interview on Wednesday when you get back. And I was like, okay.
So Caleb and I got to take a couple days. They flew us out here. I didn't fall in love with the scenery, but the people and the ministry, the church itself. God just orchestrated every little aspect of this life change for us. He had already prepared us by putting us in an RV, making us flexible, movable, moldable to what he had for us next.
When you hear the story on the outside, you're just like, that's crazy. Like, somebody would do that. That's absolutely crazy. But being in the story, being like in the middle of God calling you to do these things, it's crazy how God, when he asks obedience from you, he gives a spirit of peace as well. And it didn't seem all that crazy. It just felt like obedience.